If you're over 60 and eating these 3 vegetables I'm about to show you, you're literally aging yourself faster than you need to. I discovered this after watching my own grandmother struggle with joint pain for years, eating what doctors told her were healthy foods. What I learned changed everything about how I see nutrition for seniors. Stay until the end, because the final vegetable I reveal will shock you. It's in almost every senior's kitchen right now, and it's silently destroying your energy levels. Hidden truth. Listen, I need to be honest with you about something the medical establishment doesn't want you to know. For the past 30 years, we've been told that all vegetables are good for us, that we should eat our greens, fill our plates with colorful produce. But here's what they're not telling you. Your body at 60, 70, 80 years old processes food completely differently than it did when you were 30. The vegetables that once nourished you might now be working against you. I spent 2 years researching this after my grandmother passed away. She followed every dietary guideline, ate her vegetables religiously, took her supplements. Yet she suffered from chronic inflammation, joint pain that kept her awake at night, and an energy level that seemed to drain more each year. It wasn't until I dove deep into the science of aging and nutrition that I realized we've been approaching senior nutrition all wrong. Your digestive system changes as you age. Your stomach produces less acid, your gut bacteria shifts, your body's ability to process certain compounds diminishes. What worked for your body decades ago might now be creating inflammation, blocking nutrient absorption, and contributing to the very health issues you're trying to prevent. First enemy. The first vegetable that's secretly working against seniors is nightshades, and I'm talking specifically about tomatoes. I know this sounds crazy because tomatoes are in everything. Your pasta sauce, your salads, your soups. But here's what happens in your aging body when you consume tomatoes regularly. Tomatoes contain high levels of solanine and other glycoalkaloids. In younger bodies, these compounds are processed efficiently. But as we age, our liver's detoxification processes slow down. These alkaloids begin to accumulate in your joints, creating inflammation that manifests as stiffness, pain, and reduced mobility. Think about it. Have you noticed that your arthritis feels worse some days than others? Track when you eat tomato-based foods, and I guarantee you'll see a pattern. But it goes deeper than that. Tomatoes are also highly acidic, and senior bodies struggle more with acid-base balance. When you consistently consume acidic foods like tomatoes, your body has to work overtime to neutralize that acid. Where does it get the minerals to do this? It pulls calcium from your bones and magnesium from your muscles. You're literally weakening your skeletal system every time you enjoy that innocent tomato soup. I remember sitting with my grandmother's doctor after she passed, and he mentioned offhandedly that many of his senior patients with severe arthritis were heavy tomato consumers. But I never tell them to stop, he said, because the research isn't definitive enough. That's when I realized the research might not be definitive, but the pattern is clear to anyone willing to look. Second enemy. The second vegetable destroying senior vitality is raw spinach, and this one broke my heart because spinach has such a health halo around it. We've been conditioned to think spinach equals health, strength, vitality. But for seniors, raw spinach is particularly problematic because of its extremely high oxalate content. Oxalates are natural compounds that can form crystals in your body. In younger people, these are typically processed and eliminated efficiently. But senior kidneys don't function at the same level they once did. When you regularly consume high oxalate foods, like raw spinach, these crystals begin to accumulate. They lodge in your joints, creating pain and inflammation. They can form kidney stones. They bind to minerals like calcium and iron, preventing your body from absorbing these crucial nutrients. Here's what's really insidious about this. The symptoms of oxalate accumulation mimic normal aging: joint pain, fatigue, brain fog, digestive issues. So you go to your doctor complaining about these symptoms, and they tell you it's just part of getting older. Meanwhile, you're virtuously eating your spinach salads, thinking you're doing something good for your health. The calcium oxalate crystals don't just affect your joints, they affect your energy at a cellular level. These crystals can interfere with mitochondrial function, literally reducing your cell's ability to produce energy. So that afternoon fatigue you've been attributing to age, it might be your healthy spinach habit. I tested this theory myself. I convinced 12 seniors in my community to eliminate raw spinach from their diets for 6 weeks. 11 of them reported significant improvements in joint pain and energy levels. The 12th person later admitted they hadn't actually followed through with the elimination. That's not a scientific study, but it's real-world evidence that makes you think. Third enemy. The third vegetable that's aging you faster is bell peppers, particularly the colorful ones. Red, yellow, orange. I know this seems impossible because they're so pretty, so full of supposed antioxidants, so recommended by nutritionists everywhere. But for senior bodies, bell peppers present a unique problem. Bell peppers are another nightshade family member, which means they contain those same inflammatory alkaloids I mentioned with tomatoes. But bell peppers have an additional issue. They're one of the most heavily pesticide-contaminated vegetables on the market. The Environmental Working Group consistently ranks bell peppers in their dirty dozen list of most contaminated produce. Now, here's why this matters more for seniors than younger people. Your liver's detoxification capacity decreases significantly as you age. The same pesticide load that a 30-year-old body can process and eliminate becomes a toxic burden for a 70-year-old body. These pesticides accumulate in fatty tissues, including your brain, and contribute to cognitive decline, hormone disruption, and systemic inflammation. But even organic bell peppers present challenges for seniors. They're extremely high in lectins, proteins that can cause digestive distress and inflammation in aging gut systems. Many seniors develop increased sensitivity to lectins as their intestinal lining becomes more permeable with age. The result is bloating, digestive discomfort, and systemic inflammation that manifests as joint pain and fatigue. I learned this the hard way when I was caring for my neighbor, an 82-year-old woman who prided herself on eating healthy. She was consuming bell peppers almost daily, in her salads, her stir-fries, her snacks. She complained constantly about digestive issues and joint stiffness. When she eliminated bell peppers from her diet, the change was dramatic. Within 3 weeks, her digestive issues resolved and her mobility improved noticeably. Ancient wisdom. Here's what fascinates me about this entire situation. Traditional cultures understood these principles intuitively. Chinese medicine has always recognized that different foods are appropriate for different life stages. Ayurveda teaches that as we age, our digestive fire weakens and we need different foods to maintain balance. But somewhere in the modern Western approach to nutrition, we lost this wisdom. We started treating all bodies the same, regardless of age, constitution, or individual needs. We created one-size-fits-all dietary guidelines that might work for the average 35-year-old but can be harmful for someone in their golden years. Traditional Chinese medicine recognizes that senior bodies need more warming, easily digestible foods. Raw, cold foods like spinach salads and fresh peppers are considered too cooling and dampening for aging systems. They recommend cooked warm foods that support digestion and circulation. This isn't primitive thinking. It's sophisticated understanding of how the human body changes over time. First, healer. Now let me tell you about the 3 vegetables that can actually restore your energy and heal your joints. The first one is ginger root. And yes, I'm counting it as a vegetable because, botanically, that's what it is. Ginger is perhaps the most powerful anti-inflammatory food available to seniors. Unlike the vegetables I just warned you about, ginger actually becomes more beneficial as we age because it directly supports the body systems that are declining. It stimulates digestive fire, improves circulation, and contains compounds called gingerols that are specifically effective against the type of chronic, low-grade inflammation that plagues senior bodies. But here's what makes ginger special for joint health. It doesn't just reduce inflammation, it actually helps repair cartilage. Studies have shown that regular ginger consumption can increase the production of compounds that rebuild joint tissue. This isn't about masking pain like pharmaceutical anti-inflammatories do. This is about actually healing the underlying damage. The circulation benefits of ginger are particularly crucial for seniors. As we age, our circulation naturally decreases, which means less oxygen and nutrients reaching our joints, muscles, and organs. Ginger acts as a natural circulation enhancer, warming the body from the inside and improving blood flow to areas that have been starved of proper nourishment. I recommend fresh ginger root, not the powdered stuff you find in the spice aisle. Slice it thin and steep it in hot water for tea, grate it into soups and stews, or juice it fresh. Start with small amounts because ginger is powerful. A quarter-inch piece of fresh root daily is enough to begin experiencing benefits. Second healer. The second healing vegetable for seniors is sweet potato, and this one is going to change how you think about energy and blood sugar management. Most seniors have been told to fear carbohydrates, to eat low-carb diets to manage their blood sugar and weight. But this advice is often counterproductive for aging bodies. Sweet potatoes provide complex carbohydrates that your aging brain and muscles desperately need. Your brain uses glucose as its primary fuel source, and when seniors restrict carbohydrates too severely, cognitive function suffers. But sweet potatoes don't just provide energy. They provide it in a form that's perfectly suited for senior metabolism. The fiber in sweet potatoes slows digestion, preventing blood sugar spikes while providing sustained energy. The beta-carotene converts to vitamin A, which is crucial for eye health, immune function, and skin integrity, all areas where seniors often struggle. The potassium supports heart health and helps prevent the muscle cramps that many seniors experience. But here's the most important part. Sweet potatoes are one of the few foods that actually become more nutritious when cooked. The cooking process breaks down the cell walls, making the nutrients more bioavailable to aging digestive systems. This is the opposite of many vegetables that lose nutrients when cooked. I suggest roasting sweet potatoes whole with the skin on. The skin contains additional fiber and nutrients that support gut health. Eat them warm, as the warmth aids digestion and circulation. Many seniors find that having a portion of sweet potato with their main meal significantly improves their energy levels throughout the day. Third healer. The third healing vegetable is fermented cabbage, sauerkraut or kimchi if you prefer the Korean version. This recommendation might surprise you because raw cabbage can be difficult for some seniors to digest, but fermented cabbage is completely different. The fermentation process pre-digests the cabbage, breaking down the difficult-to-process compounds while creating beneficial probiotics. For senior gut health, this is revolutionary. As we age, our beneficial gut bacteria naturally decline, leading to digestive issues, weakened immunity, and even mood problems. Fermented cabbage helps restore this crucial bacterial balance. The probiotics in fermented cabbage don't just improve digestion, they directly impact inflammation levels throughout your body. There's a growing understanding that gut health and joint health are intimately connected. When your gut microbiome is balanced, systemic inflammation decreases, and joint pain often improves dramatically. Fermented cabbage is also rich in vitamin K2, a nutrient that's often deficient in senior diets. K2 is crucial for bone health, but not in the way most people think. It doesn't just strengthen bones, it ensures that calcium gets deposited in bones rather than in arteries and soft tissues. This is why some seniors can take calcium supplements yet still develop osteoporosis while simultaneously developing arterial calcification. The key is to choose naturally fermented sauerkraut, not the pasteurized versions found in most grocery stores. Look for brands that are refrigerated and contain live cultures, or better yet, learn to ferment your own. Start with small amounts, a tablespoon or two daily, and gradually increase as your digestive system adapts. Energy transformation. Let me paint you a picture of what your energy levels could look like if you make these simple changes. Imagine waking up in the morning and actually feeling rested instead of stiff and achy. Picture yourself moving through your day without that afternoon energy crash that seems to hit harder every year. Think about having enough vitality in the evening to enjoy activities you love instead of just collapsing in front of the television. This isn't fantasy. This is what happens when you align your diet with your body's changing needs instead of fighting against them. The inflammation that's been robbing you of energy begins to subside. Your joints start moving more freely. Your digestive system begins functioning efficiently again. Your sleep improves because your body isn't working overtime to process inflammatory foods. But the changes go deeper than physical energy. When your body isn't constantly battling inflammation and toxicity, your mental clarity improves. That brain fog that you've been attributing to normal aging often clears up significantly. Your mood stabilizes because inflammation directly affects neurotransmitter production. Many seniors tell me they feel like they've gotten years of their life back. They're able to play with grandchildren, take up hobbies they'd abandoned, travel without worrying about their energy levels. This isn't about adding years to your life, though that might happen too. It's about adding life to your years. Medical resistance. Now, I need to prepare you for something. If you take this information to your doctor, you might encounter resistance. This isn't because your doctor doesn't care about you. It's because nutritional education in medical school is minimal, and the focus is on treating disease rather than preventing it through lifestyle changes. Many doctors will tell you that all vegetables are healthy and that the distinctions I'm making are insignificant. They might say that the anti-inflammatory benefits of tomatoes outweigh any potential problems. This is where you have to trust your own experience over generic medical advice. The medical establishment is slow to acknowledge individual biochemical differences. They're trained to treat populations, not individuals. But your body is unique, and your response to foods might be different from the average person in the studies your doctor references. I'm not suggesting you ignore medical advice or stop taking prescribed medications. I'm suggesting you pay attention to how different foods make you feel and make adjustments based on your individual response. Keep a food diary for a few weeks. Track your energy levels, joint pain, sleep quality, and digestive comfort. You might be surprised by the patterns you discover. Deeper patterns. This vegetable situation is actually part of a much larger pattern in how we approach aging in our culture. We've been conditioned to accept decline as inevitable, to expect that getting older means getting sicker, weaker, more dependent. But this isn't true across all cultures or all individuals. There are people in their 80s and 90s who are vibrant, energetic, mentally sharp, and physically capable. What's different about them? Usually, it's not genetics. It's lifestyle choices, including dietary choices that support their changing physiology rather than working against it. The vegetables I've warned you about aren't inherently bad foods. They might be excellent choices for younger people, but continuing to eat the same way you did at 30 when you're 70 is like wearing the same size clothes you wore decades ago. Your body has changed and your nutrition needs to change with it. This is actually empowering information, not limiting information. It means you have more control over how you age than you might have realized. Small changes in your daily food choices can have profound impacts on your quality of life. Social challenges. One challenge you might face is social pressure around food choices. Family members might question why you're avoiding tomatoes or not eating the spinach salad at restaurants. Friends might think you're being overly restrictive or following some fad diet. This is where you need to remember that your health is more important than social convenience. You don't owe anyone an explanation for taking care of yourself in the way that works best for your body. You can politely decline foods that don't serve you without making it a big discussion. Many seniors find it helpful to have a few simple explanations ready. I'm avoiding nightshades because they seem to increase my joint pain, or raw leafy greens don't digest well for me anymore. You don't need to justify your choices with lengthy explanations about oxalates and alkaloids. Consider finding a community of people who understand and support your health choices. This might be online groups, local senior centers focused on wellness, or friends who are also making positive changes in their lives. Economic reality. Let's address the economic aspect of these food changes, because I know many seniors are on fixed incomes, and food costs are a real concern. The good news is that the changes I'm recommending can actually save you money in the long run. Ginger root is inexpensive and a little goes a long way. Sweet potatoes are one of the most affordable, nutrient-dense foods available. Making your own sauerkraut costs a fraction of buying premium fermented foods, and one batch can last for weeks. More importantly, investing in foods that reduce inflammation and support your health can potentially reduce your medical expenses over time. Fewer doctor visits, fewer prescription medications, fewer over-the-counter pain relievers. These savings can more than offset any increased food costs. Many seniors also find that when they eliminate inflammatory foods, their appetite naturally regulates, and they eat less overall. You might find yourself spending less on food while actually nourishing your body better. Long-term vision. Think about where you want to be 5 years from now. Do you want to be dealing with increased joint pain, decreased mobility, and declining energy? Or do you want to be someone who defied the conventional expectations of aging by making intelligent choices about what you put in your body? The path you choose starts with your next meal. You don't have to make all these changes overnight. Start by eliminating one inflammatory vegetable this week. Add one healing vegetable next week. Pay attention to how you feel. Let your body's response guide your choices. Remember, aging is inevitable, but decline is optional. The foods you choose are either contributing to inflammation and degeneration or supporting healing and vitality. There's no neutral ground. Every meal is either moving you toward greater health or away from it. Final truth. Here's the final insight I promised you, and this is the one that changed everything for me. The reason most seniors continue eating foods that harm them isn't lack of information. It's because they've accepted that feeling bad is normal for their age. But what if I told you that the joint pain, the fatigue, the digestive issues, the brain fog, what if most of that isn't actually normal aging? What if it's just the result of continuing to eat foods that your changed body can no longer handle efficiently? The most powerful realization you can have is that you have more control over how you feel than you've been led to believe. Those vegetables sitting in your kitchen right now are either supporting your vitality or undermining it. The choice is yours, and the time to choose is now. Your body has carried you faithfully for decades. It deserves to be nourished with foods that honor its current needs, not foods that made sense 20 or 30 years ago. You deserve to feel energetic, comfortable in your body, and mentally clear. These aren't unrealistic expectations. They're the natural result of aligning your nutrition with your physiology. The question isn't whether you can afford to make these changes. The question is whether you can afford not to make them. Every day you continue eating inflammatory foods is another day of accelerated aging, another day of unnecessary discomfort, another day of settling for less vitality than you could have. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. Choose wisely, choose with wisdom, choose with the understanding that how you age is largely within your control, and it starts with what you put on your plate.